Alright, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Relic Starcraft here, bringing you guys another Starcraft 2. Actually, nope, not a Starcraft 2 1v1 cast. This is episode 2 of Starcraft 2 is Hard. And that it definitely is. And today we're going to be watching another game with Bushels, actually. But this time he's playing a Zerg. He did race switch, as most new players do tend to do. He really enjoys playing Zerg now, and he's actually having some success with it on the ladder. And down here, spawning in the bottom, or the top right, I should say, top right, is Brad Russian, who is another friend of mine. So it's just these two playing. This is, as you can tell by the colors, this is a custom game, and I was actually in it watching this game as they played. And they asked me to do a StarCraft 2 episode, a StarCraft is Hard episode of this game, because it's actually a pretty good game considering this is such a low level play. It's actually pretty good. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. We're just gonna breeze through this beginning part. I got a kind of a half wall in thing here. He's got a little sliver here that's not quite walled in. We got the normal stuff coming in from Bushels. He's gonna go ahead and do the 14 pool, looks like. Yep, 14 hatchery. Very normal stuff. A little risky to do against Zerg, but since Radical Russian is not forge fast expanding, it's pretty safe. So all good stuff. Radical Russian just hanging out here with a probe to get a little secondary scout. Looks like 15 pool going down, or it might have been 14 pool going down for Bushels. Very good stuff. All very normal. Keeping his money low and not taking his gases too early, which is something very good. We talked about that last time in the last episode. And there's me talking. Yes, my name is DP. Should probably change that. Whatever. So yeah, just see how these two guys play it out. Not really a whole lot to say right now. Now, this is one really common thing to have happen. Bushels gets his gas, waits quite a bit to put guys on it. Not a huge deal. And oh, here comes a Zealot coming in. This is really common to have happen to you as a Zerg player. The Protoss will send in his first Zealot just to do a little bit of harassment and force some lings that you may not have wanted to make. Now, he does get almost 2 kills here. The control is not the best, so this Zealot does end up dying to this Queen, who pops out just at their nick of time. And here comes the 4 Zerglings out, a little delayed from Bushels, which he really did not need to make. Bushels is a Zerg player who really needs to learn how to drone up hard at the beginning of the game. He's really leery about getting too many drones too early, because I guess he just feels like he's just going to die. And drone timing, actually, I'm just going to pause it for a second. Drone timing is something a little difficult. A lot of people struggle with drone timing, and it's something that is probably one of the hardest things to learn as Zerg. Now, when in the PvZ matchup, I'm going to be exclusively talking about this matchup just for this this episode, but exclusively in this matchup, there's really 2 big timings you got to be watching out for. 10 minutes is when your average +1 upgrade attack will come if he Forge Fast expands, and that's something that you really want to be leery of. So if you Forge Fast and you take your quick third base, be leery of the 10-minute mark. That's when you want to maybe have 2 spine crawlers, maybe just 1 spine crawler down, and a spawn of roaches, a spawn of lings, and you're really safe. Until then, until about, I would say about 8:30, you want to be hard droning. Throw down your roach warren at about 7 minutes, 7:30, and then you can get you can sustain mass roach off of 2 bases if you just have 3 gas geysers. So throw down 3 gas geysers, get your roach warren at about 7:30, and you're safe from that 10-minute timing. Another really common timing is around 15 minutes is when the 6 gate, the two base 6 gate is going to be pushing out at your front door. So for that, you're going to definitely want about 2 spine crawlers. By then, you can probably get some infestors up for that fungal growth, that all-important fungal growth. Very, very good to use against Protoss. It's often overlooked in the lower leagues to use fungal growth against Protoss because, yeah, I mean, Stalkers are armored and they don't take as much damage from fungal as, let's say, Marines or Zealots do, but it's still huge because your Zerglings can get massive surrounds on Stalkers that are unable to move. Plus, not to mention that just straight up, Fungal's pretty good. It does damage. It does AoE damage that you're not going to be getting if you don't use Fungal. So it's just a really good ability to use, and it's pretty easy to get those out by 15-minute mark with the improved pathogen glands, which does increase their energy they start with, in case you didn't know. So here's Bushels being very, very cautious, overly cautious, making a lot of Zerglings for no real reason. Another great way to know when you should make Zerglings is just place a Zergling at his watchtower, place a Zergling on the path that he would take to kill you, like right around here, and then do something like this. Just kind of poke, be more active with your drone though that you do hide there. Check for an expansion, check if he's moving out, see how many units he has. Zerg is a race that you really need to be on top of your scouting, because it's really a react based playstyle. Zerg is really all about like how long can I drone up before I have to make units. Ideally, you don't make units until 75 supply. You've got 75 drones, you're on 3 bases, mining fully, establishing your 4th, then you start making units. That's the ideal situation. Ret is very good at that, Liquid Ret. If any of you guys are beginning to play Zerg, a little confused on what I'm saying, a great way to just see this in action is watch Liquid Ret streams, because he is the master at, no joke, he is one of the best Zergs at this drone timing thing. He has got it down to like a science. So if you guys are curious, just watch Liquid Ret. Just go on TL, and he streams quite a bit, so you can take a look at his games. Really helpful to watch other players. Now let's see, where is that? Okay, so now if you guys notice, to any of you more experienced Zerg players, you can see that this is a very, very, very late metabolic boost. Now it didn't matter. It didn't end up mattering in this game, but for any of you Zergs out there, your metabolic boost should be done around 6 minutes if you go for that faster gas at the beginning, because really, what else are you using your gas on, right? There's really not a whole lot. Nick was getting roaches out, Bushels. I'm gonna call him Nick. His name is Nick. So yeah, Bushels was getting roaches out, but there was really no need to, right? There's no aggression at all coming out from Radical Russian. In fact, he has almost no units. He's got 4 stalkers at his base. So really, as a Zerg player, be sure you're scouting that. Make sure you have tabs on your opponent, what he's doing. A great way to do that as well is once you're on layer tech, you can morph in a overlord into an overseer, and just fly him out here, poop a changeling down, and run around. And that's really, really, really potent, because you can just run straight down, see what he's got, what his unit composition is, all his buildings, see, you know, everything, really. I mean, I don't know why I made it so complicated to say that, but yeah, just see everything. And that's really, really great tool that Zergs really don't use that often. I don't know why, to be honest. So, now here's another thing. Radical Russian sending in 3 stalkers. And I guess my question to that would be why? I mean, if we come to his vision, he knows really nothing. He knows that Bushels is on 2 bases at the very least. Could assume he's on 3 because his 3rd is finishing up. But yeah, so he knows he's on 2. That's really it. In 10 minutes into the game, sending in anything less than pretty much all of your units will just get crushed. And that's what happens here. His stalkers just waltz in here, get surrounded by the lings, and none escape. And then no, so a couple do escape. And then he comes back in. So, okay, yeah, so it did get surrounded, everything got killed. And just be leery about that kind of stuff, guys. Don't do that, is the bottom line. Don't just throw away units like that. If you're curious to see what he's doing, if you're curious to scout, get an observer, send a probe around maybe the back way, around this way, to scout up to his 3rd. Don't use units to scout. I don't know if that was his intention. I have my doubts that it was for doing any sort of damage, but this is Bronze League. Keep in mind these are Amish level folk here. not the most skilled StarCraft 2 players. Just learning the ropes. It's all good stuff. So, and here is, let's see. Here's another thing that I really like to, that I see a lot, I guess I should say, is really, really insanely fast Colossus. And this, I mean, not insanely fast, I should rephrase that, a little too fast, I guess, in my opinion. Because you don't need the Colossus out that quickly. Really what he should be worrying about is getting his economy up and running, getting his third base up, pumping out those upgrades, and then worry about the Colossus about the 15-minute mark. Because, again, Zerg is a very passive, most Zergs are very passive. So they like just to get up a lot of expansions, they like to get a lot of larvae banked, and then they like to push. That's pretty common. They like to take up the Broodlords and all that kind of stuff. So getting these super fast Colossus is good if you're going to do a timing push. If you have a goal for the Colossus, that's great to get them out early. But I'm going to tell you, that's not what Radical Russian does here. He just kind of sits with them and gets a ton of them and then pushes out when he's maxed. And I would be very, very careful about doing that because it does delay things. It does delay getting blink for your stalkers and getting charge for your zealots and getting any type of double forge upgrades, and especially delays your third. And this really shows here because Radical Russian is not, he's not the best macro player, clearly. I mean, he is a new player and he's not the best macro player at all, and he's still struggling to be able to do everything he wants while pumping out Colossus. So I would be very careful about getting your Colossus out too early. A time that I would like to say is about 15 minutes is when your robo base should be finishing up and starting your first Colossus, because there's really not a whole lot that you need to be worried about mid-game. Protoss is fairly defensive all throughout the mid-game just because roaches are so strong. So really, if you got the home field advantage, you just get some sentries. That's what I would like to see in this unit composition, is some sentries for those force fields. And that's something that beginning players really lack to use. They don't use force fields and they don't cut their army in half, and that's something that's super huge to do. So do not forget to get your sentries into your army composition as Protoss, especially earlier in the game. That way they can sit there and generate some energy, and you can get those huge force field lines where you cut half his army in half and then they're stuck and you're just roasting away at those roaches and lings. So yeah, again, be a little bit leery about getting your Colossus too quickly, but if you have a purpose for your Colossus that you're gonna do, if you're gonna do it like a 15-minute like 4-gate Colossus push, by all means get your Colossus early. But if you're just gonna sit back and be passive, then be passive with a purpose. Expand, get upgrades, power a little bit heavier, and delay your Colossus just a tad bit more so you can power and get that third base established and everything. So that's just my 2 cents on the whole passive play. If you're gonna be passive, but aggressively expand. This in the sense of being passive in the sense of the word in StarCraft will lose you games. But if you're passive in the aggression front, but you're very aggressive expansion-wise and upgrading-wise, that's where you're going to get your wins. But if you're passive on both, if you're containing yourself on 2 bases for no reason, and you're teching to Colossus too quickly but not doing anything with them, and you're not getting your upgrades very quickly, then the Zerg will just get out of control. He'll just get Broodlords and crush the Colossus that you've been building up over time. And that's not something that you want to have happen. But if you yourself power, you get your third base, your fourth base up fairly quickly, you're powering your drones, you're chrono boosting your probes out, you're getting your upgrades really quickly, you're getting the blink, then when those Broodlords come, you're going to have 3/3 stalkers, you can blink underneath them, plenty of Colossus to roast all the Broodlings, and tons of sentries so you can force field and guardian shield. And wins will come to you much easier if you play like that. Or you can be very aggressive and you can go for that 15-minute 4-gate Colossus push, or the 6-gate Colossus, or sorry, not Colossus, 6-gate push at 15 minutes. Also very viable. But yeah, just be careful about being passive for no reason, if that makes sense. You wanna, if you're gonna be passive, expand, and you'll see a definite benefit. So we're just gonna breeze through here. Not a whole lot going on. He is missing quite a bit of injects, but again, he is just a bronze player. It's just really, that's just comes down to practice. Just practice. Make sure you're not missing too many of your injects. And if you do find a queen with like a lot of energy, just throw down a creep tumor or two. Keep that energy low. There's no sense in having all that energy on your queens when you could be doing creep tumors and injecting larvae and all that stuff. So yeah, pretty good stuff. And I would be very careful as Zerg to forget to expand. It's super common for people to get on 2 to 3 bases and be like, okay, I'm done. That's it. No more expanding for me. But it's super important to keep expanding, because late game is all about expansions and managing expansions. How many expansions do I have? How many expansions does he have? Am I ahead? Am I behind? Because really, late game will come to base trades, and this is actually what, or not base trades, sorry, army trades. And that's actually what this game comes down to. And we'll see that here in a second. Computer does kind of suck on ×4 speed, not doing the best. Not a big deal. Looks like +1 flyer finishing, and he is morphing to a greater spire. Now Bushels is very good about teching up fairly quickly. Now when I say quickly, I mean in the sense that, keep in mind, he's a bronze player. He's doing it well. He's learning very quickly, and that's pretty good. But again, he cannot, as a Zerg player, if there's one thing, and you're losing games over and over, and there's one thing that you should work on, it's injects. Super important. Another thing is with pathogen glands, if you guys start the pathogen glands and anywhere past 30, if you start making your infestors will finish with the increased energy. So if you start the upgrade and it gets to 30 out of 80 and you start your infestors will finish with the increased energy. So just a little note for you guys that you should definitely get that pathogen glands before your first wave of infestors. Nick didn't do that here, but not a huge deal. He didn't know. And so already we see this huge death ball of units from Rad Russian, and he is starting to push out. And very nice creep spread from Bushel, so he sees this coming. If we come to the vision, and here are the Broodlords morphing in. Come to the vision, he actually sees this big army, and I believe, yep, here he goes. Radical Russian is starting to push forward, and the engagement here is kind of funny. You guys will see. It's just kind of like one of those moments where it's just face palm. Whoa, I had it on normal speed. Let's speed that up just a little bit. And ready, guys? Ready, guys? Here it comes. No. Face palm. Face palm. Face palm. Let's see it. Let's see the face palm. Here it is. That's not fun to watch. Some of his units attacking, and here it comes even more. Funnel quickly now. Suicide. Go. And right. Okay, how many of you guys just facepalmed? I'm gonna guess over half of you. Ugh, that is not good to watch. So many Colossus roasting them all in the back. Fungal's not going down at all. And pushing him back for no apparent reason. Just a little bit of miss micro from Radical Russian. But the Broodlords, believe it or not, hold this off. A good amount of Corruptors actually clean up a good amount of the Colossus. And the Infestor does not go down. And is it survived to throw out a beach ball? It doesn't. So these Broodlords, believe it or not, actually mostly clean this up. I think Radical Russian actually gets away with a few of his units. Could be wrong. Just that is what I remember. And once again, facepalm. No. Just all his units getting stuck in this tiny little choke. All the broodlings not allowing him to move through that choke, so he can't get any shots off on those broodlords. I'll talk about this in a second. Let's just watch this fight. Very slowly, hard to watch. Oh man. And slowly but surely, the broodlords do clean up the rest of the stalkers, which sends these colossus packing back home. I believe he saves them. Yeah, he does save these two colossus, and the stalkers are cleaned up. So real quick, let's just go back to, let's see, I think it was about 2 minutes behind. Wait as my horrible computer loads very slowly. Awesome. We'll just play that just ×4 it real quick. Okay, so first of all, guys, don't do this. You don't want half your units attacking. This is just free kills for him, really. This is bottom line here. But just real quick, so when Bushel's A moves, he actually attack moved on a stalker somewhere in the middle of this death ball here. So all of these zerglings were just running around here, just trying to get to the stalker in the middle. Now, that in itself is bad. Not to mention, though, that how many colossus is this? This is 3, 6, 7 colossus roasting these guys in a choke. Now, for any zerg player at all out there, just box about half of your units here, and then just walk them out here. A move, like walk them right out here, and then A move right after that. And then you've got a much better concave than just funneling them all just to die here, because no zergling is attacking at this point. We're just going to slow it down just a little bit. If you notice, they're all stuck behind these roaches. That's not something you want to do at all. So just box half, move them here, and then boom, you're good. Way better engagement, and this would have actually been a crushing victory for Bushels had he done that. Actually, a really nice fungal, couple nice fungals going off. I did not notice those first time I watched this. But yeah, that's something you need to be very careful with. Super common mistake at low level is to just box your units and move them wherever his army may lie. And you don't want to do that for that exact reason. You're just going to get stuck in some weird choke. And it would have really been easy as A move here and then box half and then come around this way. So half are attacking in this choke, the other half are attacking in this choke. So just something to keep in mind. You don't want to allow your units to just ball up and be in a choke like that, especially against a really heavy Colossus army, because it will just roast you alive. Luckily, somehow these Broodlords were able to hold off, because that choke ended up being in his advantage, because those Stalkers couldn't walk forward and pick off the Broodlords. Now I know this is very, very low APM control, but it's still relevant in any league of play. Don't attack like that in a choke and just bundle up all your guys and just sleep in the warm lances of the Colossus. It's just not something you want to do, believe it or not. So just resume this real quick. And Bushels and Red Russians slowly recoup, and Bushels, because he is not injecting, should be ahead right now, but is really kind of even with him. A lot of drones. Don't be wary of this, guys. Just box these and put them here. There's nobody mining here. Just take all these drones that mined out your main base and put them here. It's really simple. And only 3 Broodlords remaining. He does end up morphing a couple more. And just a tip for you Protoss guys, or well, any guys playing against Zerg really, after a big engagement like that where you trade evenly, throw down another expansion if you have the money for it, because there's no way that he's going to be attacking you super quickly. Or you can even expand as you're moving out to attack him, because there's no way that he's going to be attacking you that quickly. You can easily establish this base just as long as you're macroing well, like Radical Russian is doing pretty good. You'll be able to defend any of the units that he might attack you with right after, and there's no way that he's really going to punish you for taking a 4th base. and it's only going to benefit you in the future. So just throw down that 4th base after or before major engagement, and it'll help you out quite a bit. Because then, once again, he could just box all these workers here and put them at his 4th base and call it done. So, not really a whole lot going on. We'll just breeze through here. Another real quick thing, guys. When you're going Broodlord Infestor like this, it's really good to start putting down some spine crawlers and create chokes. Like, even though this whole area here is kind of a choke as it is, you can put like spine crawler, spine crawler, spine crawler, spine crawler, spine crawler, spine crawler. So it's just something that he needs to work through until he gets to you. And then when he finally gets to you, he just works through all of those spine crawlers. Or you could even engage with the spine crawlers, which would be even better. Yep, and one more thing. Whenever you get this late in the game, I would cut out Zerglings more or less altogether. Just go mass Broodlord, Corruptor, Infestor, and you will be golden, because it's just such an impenetrable ball of tank ownage. There's really not a whole lot you can do against that. And once again a choke, and it's hard to watch. Facepalm, just Zerglings running around, not even attacking anything. Once again doing the same thing where he just A moves on top of a stalker in the middle of this ball. So we'll just watch this slowly be weird. So once again, the same thing happens, really. The stalkers get stuck in the choke, so they can't kill these Broodlords. But eventually, Radical Russian does actually something pretty decent. He warps in some stalkers back here and runs them around the outside, I believe, and is able to kill off some of the Broodlords. And yeah, he does get forward and picks off one Broodlord, but then once again, those Broodlords are so good, man. Jeez. Yeah, this is just not that good, you know? Just really be really aggressive about moving forward. Or at the very least, just double click your stalkers or control click your stalkers and just move them around the outside here. Get them out of the choke. There's no need to just do this thing. Like they're just tangoing in the middle of this choke area. No need for that at all. And finally, Radical Russian breaks through, ends up killing all of Bushel's stuff, and because Bushels is just a douche, he just runs all his stuff away and like expands 4 times over in these places. So I'm just gonna stop the game here. But so yeah, really one thing that I would really be careful about for a bronze through gold level player, you guys really need to be leery about engaging into chokes when you're Zerg, because that was an ideal place for Radical Russian to engage. It reduces the area that the Zerglings can attack his stalkers. It reduces the area that the Colossus need to shoot. So just all the Colossus are doing is just laser lancing or whatever that thing is called. Just the entire choke here, this entire area, killing everything. It's just pretty much like an elevator system. Like as more and more gets killed, more and more just goes forward to get killed and killed and killed and killed until there's nothing left. And nothing's dying from Radical Russian's point of view. It's just he's just roasting everything that Bushels has because it's such a tight choke, and Colossus do such good damage in choked areas. So yeah, be very wary about that kind of stuff. And don't forget to expand behind attacks, because think about it, if you're attacking them, all their units will have to be defending, so you can safely expand. It's just something really, a good habit to get into, really common. That's think about it, a lot of builds revolve around that, like Reactored Hellions, Reaper expands, all kinds of stuff like that. 3-gate expands, there's a lot of them. So yeah, that's really it. And just base management at the end, towards mid to late game, base management is huge. You got to make sure you're taking bases, make sure you have drone saturation on your bases, on all of your bases, gases mining on all of your bases. As you get later into the game, tech is very important, and tech is gas, and you know you need gas, so take your gas geysers. Yeah, that's really it. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If there's anything that you would like to see me do better, please let me know in the comments. This is only my second go at this, so I would really like to know what you guys think. Also, if you guys would like me to do this of one of your guys' games, send the replay into Relic Starcraft or Relic EXS replays at yahoo.com, and I'll put that in the comments, or the comments below, or the description. That's what I'll do. I'll put it in the description because that makes a little bit more sense. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you guys next time.